Two people leave the same office on the same day. Same salary, same age, same starting point. One gets into a brand new car, leather seats, ambient lighting, the kind of car that turns heads at traffic lights. The other walks past him, unlocks a 5-year-old car with a small scratch on the side, and drives off without thinking twice. Fast forward 5 years. The first one still looks successful. Better clothes, nicer dinners, more photos that look like progress. But his bank account hasn't moved. The second one, no one really noticed him. Until one day, he quietly pays off his house. No announcement, no celebration, just done. Same starting point. Completely different ending. Rule 1, looking rich is expensive. Being rich is quiet. The first mistake is confusing appearance with progress. Looking rich has a cost. And it's not just the price tag. It's the maintenance, the upgrades, the expectations, the constant need to keep up the image you've created. You buy a car you can afford, on paper, $40,000. Monthly payment, $650. It feels manageable until you realize that $650 isn't just a number. It's $650 that could have been invested every month. Over 10 years, at a modest return, that's not $650 anymore. It's over $100,000. But here's what most people miss. The car doesn't just cost money, it changes your behavior. You start choosing restaurants that match the image, clothes that match the car, vacations that match the lifestyle. And suddenly, you're not just spending $650. You're maintaining a version of yourself. That's the real cost. Rule 2, the I deserve it trap. This one feels justified. That's why it's dangerous. You work hard, you're tired, you've been disciplined all week. So you tell yourself, I deserve this. A better phone, a weekend trip, a few upgrades here and there. Individually, they seem small, but they're not random. They're patterned. Every time you feel stress, you spend. Every time you feel progress, you reward yourself. And slowly, your financial life becomes emotional, not strategic. A person making $4,000 a month spends an extra $300 on deserved upgrades. That's $3,600 a year. Over 10 years, that's $36,000. But it gets worse. That money isn't just spent. It's gone. No return, no growth, no future value. Just a temporary feeling that fades faster every time. Rule 3, social pressure is quiet but constant. No one forces you to spend more. That's what makes it invisible. You see your friends upgrading. New apartment, better clothes, more expensive habits. No one tells you to match them, but you feel it. You don't want to be the one who says no, the one who can't afford it. So you stretch just a little, then a little more, until your lifestyle is no longer based on your reality. It's based on your environment, and environments escalate. What felt expensive last year feels normal now. That's how lifestyle inflation works. Not through big decisions, through small, repeated adjustments. And over time, your baseline shifts without you noticing. Rule 4, small leaks destroy big futures. Most people aren't broke because of one bad decision. They're broke because of 100 small ones. Subscriptions you forgot about, daily spending that feels harmless, convenience purchases that add up quietly. $10 here, $20 there. It doesn't feel like anything until you actually calculate it. $15 a day is $450 a month. That's $5,400 a year. Invested over 20 years, that's not $5,400 anymore. It's tens of thousands. But the real problem isn't the number. It's the invisibility. Because small leaks don't trigger pain. They don't force you to stop. They just continue. Rule 5, debt makes the illusion possible. The fake rich lifestyle doesn't exist without debt. Debt is what allows you to look like your future self today. You don't have the money, but you have access, credit cards, financing, monthly payments, and suddenly things that should take years take minutes. You swipe, you sign, you upgrade. But here's the part nobody talks about. Debt doesn't just borrow money. It borrows time. Every payment is a piece of your future income already spent. You're not just paying for the item, you're paying for the version of you who thought it was worth it. And that version of you is usually more optimistic than realistic. Rule 6, you normalize what you can't sustain. At first, it feels like progress. You upgrade your life, better things, better experiences. You adjust. And after a while, it feels normal. That's the trap. Because now, going backwards feels like failure, even if it's necessary. You can't downgrade easily. Not your apartment, not your lifestyle, not your image. So you keep pushing forward, even when the numbers don't make sense, even when the stress increases. Because you've built a life that requires constant income just to maintain, not to grow. Rule 7, real wealth is boring in the beginning. This is the part people avoid because it doesn't look like progress. Saving, investing, delaying, it's quiet. No visible reward, no social validation, no immediate result. You don't get compliments for a full savings account. No one notices your consistency. But this is where everything changes. Because while one person is upgrading their lifestyle, another is upgrading their position, their buying time, flexibility, options. And those don't show up immediately. They compound slowly. Then all at once, rule 8. The cost isn't just money. This is the part that's hardest to see. The fake rich lifestyle doesn't just cost you financially. It costs you mentally. You start thinking in terms of payments, not freedom. You calculate what you can afford monthly instead of what you can own outright. You stay in jobs longer than you want because your lifestyle depends on it. You delay risks, opportunities, changes because you can't afford instability. And that's the real trap. Not being broke, being dependent. Go back to those two people. Same job, same salary, same starting point. One chose visibility. The other chose stability. One built a life that looked impressive. The other built a life that worked. 5 years later, the difference wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It was direction. One spent to feel ahead. The other delayed to actually get there. And that's the part most people never realize. The goal isn't to look rich. It's to not have to pretend. Because real wealth doesn't need to be seen. It shows up in what you don't have to worry about anymore.